had he known day one or before starting construction that he couldn't get everything he wanted and he has to cut somewhere, well, maybe he would have cut
some square footage,
or cut maybe certain materials or finishes elsewhere and keep what he wants mostly for him.
Have you been thinking about buying your first rental property for some time, or do you already own a bunch of properties? Well, fellow investors, you found the right location to listen and learn from others' successes. Welcome to The Very Real Estate Effect with your host, Axel Monsan.
Hello, and welcome back to The Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. And today it's a pleasure and an honor to have as a guest Mr. Nick Roth, the founder of Habikon Construction Company. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. I've been looking forward to this conversation. Before we jump right into it, I just want to remind everyone, thank you for sharing this conversation with a friend who could benefit from this conversation, who's interested in construction and sometimes just not sure how to go about it with a contractor. Nick is going to bring a lot of clarity on projects and how to go about it. So if you share it with a friend, it'll help us reach more people like yourself. Thank you very much. So, Nick, you started a construction company. You're now at the helm of Habikon. How in the world did you get started in real estate?
It started, the first project I ever did is probably 25 years ago. About 25 years ago, me and my father actually built my brother's house.
Okay.
So it was an autoconstruction.
Yeah.
And me and my father, I do a lot of the translation because my father's, French and English is not perfect. So I got involved a lot. Mm-hmm. And that was the first project I ever got involved as, hiring people, managing, supervising, and so on and so forth. So it was a great experience. Then over the years, acquisitions of properties and renovating them or, were the other experiences.
Yeah.
But the big change was about, I would say almost 9 or 10 years ago. A friend of mine had invested in a real estate project.
Okay.
And he was more of an investor. And there was a contractor that was there doing the construction. A lot of problems. So he asked me to kind of help him out and if I wanted to invest too. So I participated for 6 months more on the reviewing and trying to see all the issues and so on and so forth. My strength was always organization and structure. And I got they say la piqûre at that moment. And I decided to go ahead and go get my courses and get my license. So that was a process, of course. That was,
It's a lengthy process.
It's a lengthy process, but it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary because you get to understand after the real mechanics of everything. It's not just a building. Construction has a big administration aspect of it too.
Yeah.
And that's what people sometimes tend to forget of the construction industry. And so that was the courses and everything. And then from there on after, the company opens, I had friends of mine, two good friends of mine, and I got to thank them a lot, gave me the opportunity to build their custom homes.
Okay.
Beautiful homes, several $1 million homes, large homes. And that was where my 2 official projects on my own.
Okay.
That we did first. Small team, just me and someone else. And after that, slowly, doing other projects one at a time, team growing, then doing projects. And what I mean by projects is myself investing and buying some land and building units and selling them. So a mixture of different things that we did. I would say the most interesting factor was at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I love it. It stimulates me because every project is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a kind of person that likes to get stimulated and I don't like repeat. And I found my calling. I love what I do. I don't consider it work. We work gazillion hours, but it's fun. It's fun. And it's fun with clients too, because it's one of their biggest investments as well.
Yeah.
So
that's the,
and it's their baby and I like being part of it. And it's honestly, it's a wonderful experience.
And you've picked a segment, the high-end custom home that is quite particular, where you have clients that have higher expectations. It's a bigger budget. Bigger budget means more opportunities to to keep it on track, but also to kind of go sideways. And so you've really niched down on that. And then I understand after that, you've also opened a division to do more some multifamily.
Exactly. We have another division. It's called Cineo. And that company there does our multi-family residential and light commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that as well. But Habikon, going back, is like you said, it's a custom home building. It's luxury home building. And that is a special niche, as not every trade is fit for doing that kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure our specialty trades as well can support the needs of the project. A lot of planning. You're collaborating with designers, clients. New stuff. I mean, it's a wonderful world. The product, the finesse, the finishes goes to the next level. It's not your standard house.
No, and that's the thing. And you starting in high-end custom homes, you've really set the bar high, and you really do have the incentive working with these clients to make sure that you hit every objective. Now, in speaking to other real estate investors, there is a little bit sometimes that fear of, I need to get some renovations done, or I'd like to do a build, but I don't really know how to go about it. I'm kind of scared in working with a contractor. Sometimes there's the perception that contractors are shark, and I've always said it's not the case. You have to pick who you're working with. And also, and that's going to be the one of the first questions for you is, there is sometimes the tendency to think that, but projects, it always takes more time. It always goes over budget. It's not as easy as what it seems. And you're constantly solving problems. And being an investor myself, I've experienced some of those aspects. And I want to see, like, how is it, or what is it that you do in particular to try to be on time and on budget? Because for custom homes, it's expensive. You have to make sure that you hit your targets.
Absolutely. It's the biggest challenge. And, like you said before, how do we stay on budget
Mm-hmm.
and how do we stay on time? I would say the number one rule is better planning.
Yeah.
Better planning, better collaboration, and the person you work with, you have to have a trust factor. I would say if you do not feel comfortable or don't have trust in the person you're working with, then don't.
Mm-hmm.
We have to build that relationship from the beginning.
Yeah.
People have to put all cards on the table so we can properly work it,
Just a quick break from the episode. I'm all about the community and how much of an impact it's had for me in my real estate investing journey. I've recently joined Cercle 13. It's a community of real estate professionals organized by real estate professionals for real estate professionals. And I've really enjoyed networking with industry leaders that are at a high level and doing big projects. We're hosting an event in June. I'd love to see you there. You can find out more information at cercle13.com. That's CERCLE13.com under events, and you can find out and register there. I'll see you in June. Thank you.
I would say the first thing, and from the questions you asked me in the conversation we're having, the most important thing is going to go at the beginning. Stage one, I have a project. I want to do it. What do I do first?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you have to sit down and you have to evaluate your project. Is your project first feasible? And what I mean by feasible is I have a land, or I want to buy land, either or, and I want to build X size home. Great. What is your needs? What is and what is your budget? And we have to go in depth and do, spend a good hour, 2 hours, sometimes with clients. And we do that. So we do a pre-qualification to see, is it even project worth it?
You mean in terms of zoning?
No, not even zoning. We have clients sometimes that don't even have land. So let's just go worst case scenario. You just have an idea.
Okay.
That's it. So you have an idea. You don't even have your land yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So in the case that a client just has an idea, he goes, I have $1 million, for example, and I want to build in this area, and I want to build this type of size home. So let's see, is it realistic? Is it feasible? So that's where we sit down with the client and we look at, okay, this area to purchase a land could be $400,000. So here you go. You have $400,000 away from your budget. You got $600,000 left. What can we build for $600,000? So we kind of do a reverse backwards and say, okay, for $600,000, this is what we can build. Does it fit your needs?
Yeah.
He's like, No or yes. Yes, great. So then project is feasible and then we can work on it. Project is not feasible. It's like, no, I need a bigger house.
Mhm.
So what do we do? So we have to increase budget sometimes, or we have to modify things. For example, some clients are going to go further away,
Yeah.
find a cheaper land, for example, and try to, like, instead of spending $400,000 on the land, maybe spend $250,000 and add 150 to their construction budget.
Exactly.
So that's the first aspect of what we do. Or when people have a land, is it's a rule of thumb is we'll do what we call a Class D estimation, is sizes. We do like a needs and wants list.
Mhm.
We look at what size of property they want, depending on the type of finishes and quality. Not, I wouldn't say quality, I would say more finishes that they're looking to put in the house. We have rough estimates. We know what it costs.
Yeah, on a per square foot basis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A very high level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know,
Class D
the
budget.
Class D budget.
Yeah.
We're talking about an accuracy of maximum
Mhm.
of not more, like 25% plus.
Mhm.
So we sit there and we evaluate. Does it make sense or not?
Mhm.
And we evaluate. Sometimes we can shrink the place, get them what they want, and fit in the budget. So that is on the first step, because you have to do plans after.
Mhm.
And sometimes clients will get plans done before
And then come and see
and then
you.
come see general contractors.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest portion.
Yeah, because they don't understand that you can't build this 4-bedroom home for $400,000.
Exactly. And that happens often.
Yeah.
And the reason what that happens is it's client goes sees a professional, and it's not really no one's fault. It's just no one's there kind of monitoring the budget as they're doing the plans.
Mhm.
So he goes, sees the professional. He goes, okay, I want to build a 4-bedroom house, a cottage, for example,
Mhm.
and I have a $600,000 budget. Okay. So the architect or the technologue is doing the plans, working along, and along the way, okay, I add this, I want
Yeah.
this, I add
Yeah.
this, but no one is kind of every time they're raising the flag saying, hey, hold on, your
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
So
That's an extra 20K.
that's
an extra 15K.
Exactly.
That's an extra, yeah.
And then they're adding, or make it a little bit bigger, make this,
Mhm.
but they never spoke about the budget again.
Yeah.
So this is what it was. So next thing you know, after they come, they get a plan done, and they spend, several thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And, effort and everything. And it's not only that, they've sold into, like, they've built their dream now, right?
Mhm,
They've
mhm.
designed it, it's there. And then they go shop around trying to get a price.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the clash.
Mhm.
It's like, his idea was 600,000, and that's what he always thought. And then from 600,000, now we're at $1 million.
Yeah.
He's like, why isn't it working?
Mhm.
So that happens fairly
Very
often. Very, very often.
Mhm.
And that's where it's an education process. And
Yeah.
there's been times where with clients, we redo new plans
Yeah.
from scratch because they really can't afford.
Mhm.
Or
If that's your budget and it needs to fit in here, you by definition can only afford a smaller house.
it's a square footage rule,
Yeah.
because there's only so much you can cut in finishes to lower the price. So
Yeah.
instead of like putting luxury finishes or premium,
Yeah.
you can put a little bit more standard. Sure. You'll lower the price, call it on $1 million property, you'll cut about $100,000.
Mhm.
But you're not going to cut $300,000.
No.
At a certain point, you have to
No.
start cutting square footage. So, and that's what happens often. And how do we do to avoid it? What do we do? The truth is, I would say find a builder that you can work with from day one, even before you have plans, and establish a relationship and do a design and build where you have the builder involved from day one.
Mhm.
You have the professionals involved from day one, and you collaborate from day one. Everybody has a common goal. This is the budget I have,
Exactly.
and these are my needs. And everything is from day one working on that.
Exactly. And I was going to say, like, thank you for bringing this up, because I was going to ask you, what is it that you do to improve the project predictability? And by definition, if I hear you say this, you bring everybody around the table, the architect, the builder, the client, right off the bat, to make sure that the expectation and the budget are aligned from the get-go.
That is correct. So there's a thing called IPD. It's very commonly used for larger commercial or institutional projects.
What does it stand for?
Integrated project delivery.
Okay.
So that's exactly what it defines. And it's very big. It's mostly common in the US.
Mhm.
It's slowly starting to come into Quebec. But the mentality we have here is appel d'offres. Let's go out to
Yeah.
tender. We do plans and then we find someone. So when you're doing IPD, the problem is you cannot work that type of style.
Mhm.
You have to hire everybody from day one. You have to establish what the profit margins are for everybody.
Mhm.
And then we go
And
ahead
then go from there.
and then go from there. So
Okay.
it's a different process. The SQE, la Société Québécoise d'Infrastructure, which is the biggest person that does the most projects in Quebec, actually started doing a few projects that way.
Oh.
They've started doing a few test projects,
Mhm.
and it's going very well. So it is something that's going to start happening more and more.
Oh, that's good news.
It's better planning,
Mhm.
better execution, and that's how we make sure there's less surprises. And also, the problem is the silo.
Yeah.
The typical standard process that we do today, everybody works in silo.
Mhm.
So you have the client that's a silo, you have the architect that's in silo, everybody's in silo, and then you have the client in the middle trying to coordinate and pass the information.
Yeah. And he's not the professional.
He doesn't have the experience.
Exactly. And so, I mean, we've been in a situation like that, and you add some engineers on top of it, and a few other professionals, and all of a sudden you're like, well, how come you guys didn't coordinate this? And it's up to the client to do. And as you said, like bringing everybody around the table from the get-go always comes and delivers a better outcome.
Absolutely. There is an upfront cost though,
Mhm.
but it will cost you more working that way, but you will avoid surprises, delays, and overruns. So that's where instead of you have to invest a little bit more, and there's no downfall.
Mhm.
You're still saving at the end. It's just that you have to be open-minded that you're going to be a lot more upfront.
Yeah.
But the difference is on working on the IPD method that we call is you really get to build what you want.
Mhm.
And I'll give you other examples where you have clients that have done plans, the budget doesn't work, and then suddenly they're building, and along the way, the budget now is not working anymore. And now they start cutting things last minute.
Mhm.
They want to cut to fit in their budget. I mean, it's normal. They don't have the funds.
But that's changes.
It's changes, but it's trying to cut.
Mhm.
So the problem is they're cutting in places that they wouldn't want to cut. So if you were to take the client, bring him back to day one, tell him, where would you want to cut now?
Yeah.
He would maybe cut elsewhere.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, he's not building anymore what he truly wanted.
Mhm.
So that is the frustration for clients. So he's over budget, delays, and he's not even getting what he truly wanted.
Yeah.
Because had he known day one or before starting construction that he couldn't get everything he wanted and he has to cut somewhere, well, maybe he would have cut
Some
elsewhere.
square footage,
Square
in the living
footage,
room.
or
yeah.
cut maybe certain materials or finishes
Yeah.
elsewhere
Mhm.
and keep what he wants mostly for him.
And you bring a very good point, because Habikon is known to offer a complete solution for landowners. And I like how you describe the necessary predictability of bringing everybody around to exactly avoid that situation, because one of the biggest things you have to manage is simply the client's expectation. And as you said, if it's not properly planned at the very beginning, then it comes to a situation where midway through it's cut. And as you said, then it's, over budget and the finished product isn't exactly what they wanted. So how do you make sure that, with your team and with the client, you do that from the get-go? Like, what is Habikon's special edge?
So IPD is the best way,
Mhm.
but there's other steps within IPD what we do. So we try to align right now. We do plans with clients and we put budgets on certain divisions of like whether it's flooring, kitchens and everything.
Mhm.
But we go in depth in every item. So for some people, because everybody's needs and wants are different. So I find out. We ask a lot of questions. I mean, some of these sessions last 3-4 hours long.
Yeah.
And we go in depth to find out what kind of kitchen does he want.
Mhm.
And for some people, it's the most important thing. For other people, they couldn't care less.
Yeah.
So we go ahead and we align really what they want. And we show them, we give them examples. Our database, our costing is up to date. When you're constantly doing projects, we're currently running about almost 10 projects right now. And when you constantly have projects, your prices are up to date and you know where you stand. So we sit there with clients, we pull out math, we sit down, we look at it and we break it down really granular. And we start putting budgets on every division. And then from there on, we look at what the global picture is.
Mhm.
And then after that, we do what we call alignment of budget and needs.
Yeah.
It's the hardest.
Expectations.
It's the hardest.
Is the hardest part.
It is the hardest part. Exactly. Yeah. So that's where people's dreams sometimes like, oh my God, I'm not going to get what I want for my budget.
But at least it's realistic, and let that realization happen at the very beginning before they even got into it, than midway through when it's already too late.
Exactly. But there's people sometimes like, no, but I can get it cheaper or I can.
Yeah.
It happens often though.
Sometimes, but cutting.
It's just that because a lot of times people are like, well, I have a quote, that's something else. I'm like, okay, great. But does your quote include everything?
Yeah.
So that's something else we can have a conversation about too. Is you have 2 quotes, 3 quotes, which one is better?
Mm-hmm.
So and
The cheapest one isn't necessarily the best. That's for sure.
usually it is probably the most expensive one. Is it's because it's going to say as per plan,
Mhm.
nothing else. So they didn't anticipate your other things that are not on the plan, and then it's going to be just change orders and extras.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, your $800,000 budget that he proposed to you, you're going to end up at 1.1 million, where the other person had $1 million and told you transparently everything's included. So next thing you know, it's going to cost you more. So this is what happens. And this is a mentality that started in the public contracts. A lot of these people in the public contracts, they know what happens. The plans are not perfect. There's mistakes. There's missing stuff. There's change orders. And they make up all their money on those extras.
On the difference.
And that's why we hear these projects that were budgeted for 5 million and end up being double the budget.
So you're running about 10 projects right now. At the same time, you have a fairly large team.
Sure.
Do you have any specific tools and technologies that you're using to make sure that all this is properly coordinated?
Exactly. So 5 years ago, at the beginnings of the business, I invested heavily in technology. We have at the office, we're currently using about 25 different technology tools.
Platforms? Wow.
Platforms, yeah. For construction specifically, the construction department, we probably have, I can probably top of my head, about 5 or 6. The beautiful part about it is they're all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So my accounting software with my construction software, my scheduling software with my execution software, and the last one we're putting together now is the pre-planning, collaborating together with my construction. So we're in the process now of launching a new software very soon. That's going to help us create all the options for clients, and they can go ahead and they'll be able to log in, go into their project, look at all the options, and start doing like a sandbox. Okay, if I put this and I do this and I do that, and they're going to see what the bottom line is.
Okay,
that's going to be like it's going to be like a bit of a custom build with your choices we discussed with different options in pricing.
And budget simulation?
Budget simulation.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's something I've been working on for the past 6 months. It's long to put it together, but we just revamped our estimation tool.
Okay.
And software, and it's all intertwined. And this new thing is going to help people align their budget and their needs. So they're going to see, okay, great. I have 3 options of flooring: option A, B, or C, all different prices. And they can see, okay, if I take option B for flooring, I'll take kitchen C for kitchen. And as they start simulating and putting together the options that we've created for them, they can see what the bottom line is. And they can see also, if I was to take all the cheapest options, where am I at? If I take all the expensive options, where am I at? So, and they're going to be able to go in there and play around and, build what they really want and make.
And that saves you also a lot of time because they've been able to play with this on their own and you don't have to present each item to them individually.
No. And the beautiful part about it is every project that we do right now, so every option, let's call that we create, stays in the database.
Yeah.
So in the future, next time a client wants, okay, so here we've done these type of 20 options. Which ones of the 20 speak to you the most? So we go ahead and we pick 2, 3, we put them in his project, and then he goes ahead and does alignment. So that's a wonderful tool that's coming. It's I haven't seen anything like that in the market. It's something that was being done mostly in the design aspect, and now we're able to incorporate together and mix it with my construction.
Yeah, and if you offer a complete solution, it totally makes sense for you to have that tool because then, as you said, like you emphasize a lot on the planning aspect up front to make the rest of the execution a lot more seamless. So that's it makes sense for your complete solution. Now, as we're starting to wrap up here, as we have people who are listening who'd be interested in building a secondary home, or maybe their primary residence, or maybe a multifamily property, what would be 1 or 2 pieces of advice you would leave them with that really will make a difference in how to work with a contractor?
The first advice I would give is go around, shop, speak to them,
Yeah.
meet with them, see the ones that invest and put the time into you. If people are just looking to give you a price, if that's what you're looking for, you're going about the wrong way. You want to work with someone who's willing to invest in your project, understand your project, and see the effort he puts into it. So I would say that's the first signage of seeing of someone how seriously he takes the projects. Locate 1, 2, 3. See how they work. Ask questions. What kind of contracts do you work? What kind of relationships are you looking for? and find out, instead of just asking for the price, ask how their processes are.
Mhm.
What are they willing to do? How are they going to do it for you? Whether it's a design and build, which is something that Habikon does. So
Yeah.
we're able to grab clients from day one and do it all, help to put the plans together till the final execution to the delivery. Uh, Find out what services. Are they only do construction? Do they do design and build? And
How integrated are they?
exactly.
Mhm.
And I would say that would be the one thing. And then you got to figure out what is your type of relationship you want to have with the builder.
Yeah.
Because there's clients that are very heavily involved, and there's other clients that give us like, go ahead, do you know best, go ahead. So I would say every client's needs are different. So you got to make sure the needs or how you want to do your project aligns with the way the contractor can do it.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably the first thing I would validate. Second thing, it's a trust factor. Whether you like it or not, there's got to be trust.
Mhm.
And it's the most important thing, because if there can't be a trust, then it's going to be very hard. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So you got to make sure the person you work with, that you feel comfortable with, and that trust factor is there. Are you going to tell me, Nick, it's not easy building a trust overnight? I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But if you see someone who's investing, call their clients.
Mhm.
We have, and I tell all my clients, would you like to visit our current projects? Do you want to talk to our current clients?
Mhm.
Do you want to talk to our past clients?
Mhm.
So go ahead. And, if they're not open to sharing that,
Yeah.
then it should be some red flags.
Ben oui.
So I would say that. And then I tell clients openly, ask them how their budget was.
Mhm.
What was it planned? What was it delivered?
Yeah.
So
What happened?
what happened? And go to that granular questions. And I'm proud to say we've done budgets with clients and we've delivered projects under budget.
Mhm.
So we spent even less, and we didn't cut anything.
Mhm.
It's that we properly planned,
Yep.
and we delivered on time and under budget.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, that would be perfect in every single scenario, but we can't.
Never always the same.
No, but that would be the ultimate expectation we would
Mhm.
want. But the truth is, can I get what I want with the budget that we discussed?
Yeah.
Don't bring me surprises.
Exactly. And I like because numerous times you've emphasized on the alignment of expectations, budget, constraints, and that's really important. And that's something that really needs to be discussed more, because a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, they get disappointed because they wanted $1 million house with a $500,000 budget and it just doesn't work. Now, given your expertise, if some of our listeners are interested in knowing more about you and Habikon, what's the best way to get in touch?
So you can go onto our website, habikon.ca, fill out a form, and we'll touch base with you. We'll understand your needs, ask a few questions, and then we'll put together and we'll do a feasibility study. And that's the first step, but usually it's understanding what the client's needs are. First of all, can we service you, or in an area that we service?
Mhm.
Is your project aligned with what we can offer for you?
Yeah.
We do all that preliminary. We're not in the pricing. There's so much more.
Maybe upfront that needs to be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And can we deliver, first of all? Can
Mhm.
we deliver in the time frame that you want? And so there's a lot of other things we have to understand first.
Wonderful.
So look, most important thing, we need as much as information as possible. So
Mhm.
the biggest default in residential construction is the lack of information on plans.
And planning.
Yeah, it's because we don't do what we do usually in commercial projects where we have mechanical plans, civil plans, and all that. So people they go on the fly. And that's why things are lacking. It's a lack of information.
Yeah.
And based on the lack of information, that's why we have all these surprises and budgets and delays.
Mhm.
So I would say, pick your people at the beginning, plan properly, invest a lot more time upfront in
Yeah,
planning.
that's really the key.
Exactly, because you will get at the end what you wanted. You don't want to be holding at the end
No.
and have surprises. You really want to avoid all of that.
Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your experience. Clearly, you've accumulated a lot over the years and numerous projects. And wish you the best. And hopefully, you'll come back on the show and we can discuss it further.
Thank you, Axel, for having me. And yes, it would be a pleasure to come back and have another conversation down the road.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Nick. As usual, keep researching your market, make some offers, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.